And a very warm welcome to our viewers at home. As you can see, we are broadcasting live today from our Sustainable Seas Trust offices, live in Port Elizabeth, and I'm here with my co-host, Lauren. How are you doing?
Hey, it's so good to be in the office,
it's
right?
It's so good to be in the office. For those of you joining for the very first time, this is our Sustainable Seas Trust Masterclass, where we discuss all things zero waste, what it is to do that in your home, in your workspace, at school, and we're just continuing with this journey. So for those of you joining for the very first time, a very warm welcome. Please let us know where you're coming from. Be sure to type all of your comments and your thoughts, questions in the chat box on the side. And then continuing with our discussion today, I want to bring in Lauren. Lauren, we have got a very exciting talk lined up for our viewers today. Can you just take us through?
Sure. So today we're going to be talking about all things recycling. So the art of recycling at home, the art of recycling at school, the art of recycling at business. And I think a lot of the time people think that, to start recycling, it's number one, probably expensive, and number two, it's impractical. And we actually want to start talking about how practical it actually is and how easy it really is. And ultimately, what is the impact that recycling has on our environment? Today we have some speakers lined up who's going to give us some insights into how the waste management industry works, and basically share a little bit about how you can sign up if you wanted to start recycling at home. I know you started recycling at home.
Yes, it's a very exciting journey for my family and I. We've actually started recycling with Green Cycle. That is why today's talk is actually super exciting, because there's a lot of questions that I think people want to know and get answered about what it's actually like to recycle at home. I know for us working at Sustainable Seas Trust, it was a little bit easier because we have some inside access to the plastics organization and what to do and how. But when you're starting this journey for your first time on your own, you need a little bit of support and you want to actually know what to do. So for us, it was an exciting journey. I must say that I'm quite strict with my recycling at home. My family is a little bit annoyed with me, but it's all for the better of the planet. I don't know how it's going at your home. How's recycling on your side?
It's been a process. Definitely initially there's a bit of hesitation because it's another thing to do.
Yes.
But I must be honest that we are making some good progress. And at the moment, my rule at home is just put recyclable in sort of a little bag. I've got 3 little drawers, so decorations, and then I'll make sure that it goes out on the relevant day. So it's working really well. I think if you just put those systems in place, then it should surely work. We're very lucky at the office. We've got sort of bins set out, and so you're constantly reminded when you're in the kitchen to chuck your tin in there or your plastic bottle. And I think if we just put those systems in place in our homes, in our schools, it makes things so much easier. And it's not, the system isn't there, that seems impossible or it's unattainable.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a very good point.
So I think let's maybe chat to our speakers. So we have 2 speakers in the lined up. I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Laura Henderson, co-founder of Green Cycle. Hi Laura, how are you?
Hi Laura, how are you doing? Very good to see you today.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this.
Fantastic.
Excellent. And then we have Emmy from the Waste Trade Company. Hi, Emmy.
Emmy. Hello.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Laura.
So good to see you. Good to see you. So for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, please be sure to, first of all, like and subscribe to our channels for the Sustainable Seas Trust. Be sure to follow Instagram and Facebook, but also make sure that you tell us where you're from. We'd love to see where in South Africa we have reached, and also be sure to put in your comments, suggestions, and questions within the chat box. All right, so I'm pretty excited to ask all of my questions.
Yes, no, definitely,
for today. So Lauren, I'm going to hand over to you.
For sure. So we're going to start chatting to Laura. So I think if you can maybe just give us an update or tell us a little bit about the Green Cycle story, where it all started, what fired your, and what inspired you guys to get the program started.
I think really, yes, a friend and I started it 12 years ago now, unbelievably. And it was really down to frustration that you couldn't recycle in Port Elizabeth. You could take a few papers somewhere and you could take metal to the scrapyard, but there was nowhere that the normal household could do anything with it.
Yeah.
So we standing outside school one day said, well, wouldn't it be great? We sent a few flyers out.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that was 12 years ago, and now it's grown unbelievably.
Fantastic. No, that's really, it's such an inspiring story, and I think it's amazing how you've used your frustration and you've actually managed to sort of develop something good out of it.
Yeah.
So kudos to you guys there at the Green Cycle family. And I think people want to know, what really can I recycle? In terms of what sort of recyclables does Green Cycle take? Would you maybe just want to sort of talk a little bit about that, please?
Okay, well, we will, because of the way we operate and our reason for being, we will take anything that is recyclable that we can find a home for. So, I mean, there are a few things that are technically recyclable, but just not recyclable in South Africa or in PE. Everything else, regardless of whether we can get remunerated for it or not, we will take. So there's the normal stuff like all your paper, all your cans, any metal, any glass bottles and jars, several plastics. We do have to be specific about which ones can be recycled. And then we take things like used cooking oil and x-rays and that sort of thing. They're a little bit more off the beaten track, but can in fact be recycled. So for us, it was always about providing a really convenient service that made it really easy for people to do the right thing and make as much difference as possible by the amount that they could actually send to us.
Sure.
Okay, that's really great, and I think a lot of us want to kind of know, like, and I don't know if it's possible to answer this question directly, but a lot of the time we wonder is when I put my bags out I've got I think you guys can collect every second week from me, which works perfectly fine. But I just wanted to know how much of the waste that is sent to the recycling warehouse is able to be recyclable. Is there like a percentage of some sort, or is it
how does that work?
In an ideal world, we'd love it if 100% of what we got from our customers was recyclable. But obviously, people make mistakes. People don't know sometimes that something can be recycled. Generally, for a normal household, at least 50% of your waste should be recyclable. So you would expect to, when you start recycling properly, to reduce your waste that you send to landfill by 50%. If you sort of going the whole zero waste thing and you're composting and being careful where you shop, then you could get up to 80 or 90%. Most of our customers,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Let's talk about voting with your wallet. I know you mentioned that, that idea of actually when you're going into a store, making those wise choices. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and how you do it on a practical basis at home?
Well, yes. So if you're looking to recycle, try and make sure that everything you buy is recyclable. And there are things for me that are more recyclable than others. So glass and metal.
All right, so we're sorry to disturb, but All right. So we've got a little bit of a connection issue with Laura, unfortunately, but I just quickly want to move over onto Emmy while Laura's connection comes back into swing. Emmy, are you there?
Yes, ladies, I'm here. Hi, Alexi.
Okay, fantastic. So Sustainable Seas Trust has been working with Waste Trade a few times. We've had a few interactions with you guys, and it's very exciting to see what you're doing and who you are and what exactly your goals are. But for the viewers at home, can you please tell us exactly who Waste Trade is? What are you guys? What do you do? Who are you?
Okay, so Waste Trade is quite a small Port Elizabeth owned company. Our main depot is here in Dilparty, 137 Old Grahamstown Old Grahamstown Road, warehouse number 8. So we have quite a number of years we've been in operation. Then we've got a couple of clients in the Kirkwood, Ado areas, as well as collecting for clients in your what do you call this place now? Towards Cape Town side. Humansdorp, yes. Also Port Elizabeth, Dispatch, and Utnake. Then we do waste management with some of the contracted clients here in the Port Elizabeth area. Then we have the schools project, which I head, and I look after schools, NPOs, churches, and small donating companies. So what we do is we bring clients on board, find out what their waste problems are. We give them solutions for recycling and waste management, and how to reuse some of the waste that we don't really need to throw away. Because as Laura has mentioned, not all waste is 100% recyclable. And locally, it's even worse because we're not as advanced as other countries. So we can only handle waste that we can recycle and reuse locally. So that's what we do. We
Okay.
offer you waste management solutions as well as recycling options, and also encourage you to reuse some of the products that we cannot really dispose of or are toxic to the environment.
That is such a fantastic initiative. And I love that you touched on schools program, because that's something that I'm particularly involved in, being under the education department and communications. We've got so much happening there. So I'd like to dive in a little bit to discuss your schools program. So I'd love to know how many schools you are involved with, and also how can a school or NGO get involved with Waste Trade? Like, how do they find you? What are the steps that they need to get involved with your organization?
Okay, so I've got about, I think it's 189 clients now altogether under the schools project, because we have the majority of schools, then we have NPOs as well as churches and donating companies. So what I do is every now and then I get schools that sign up with us, and then they come on board. They fill in our form. I go out, do a waste audit to find out exactly what their challenges are at the school or the client's needs are. Then we'll check what are the biggest waste streams they generate, and then we'll offer them resources. Sometimes if it's bags, but when we do have bins, then we offer them. But now currently we're offering bags, and we encourage clients to use the available resources. Because of COVID-19, we are trying to make sure that we try and minimize waste so that it doesn't become too much at the school. But right now, because we're at level 1, a lot of schools are actually clearing out their schools, offices and classrooms. And when they sign up, I go to them, encourage them how to recycle, show them the recycling guides, and then every now and then we collect from them, and then we provide them a rebate for recycling.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I know that we interact with Waste Trade quite a bit. We have our own recycling project that we are super excited about, which is Munch on the Move. It's basically this wire coelacanth. You can see the coelacanth in the background. And it basically teaches a lot of school kids how to recycle, how to separate, identify these different types of plastics within their school and within their home. So we're super excited, and we feel super privileged to be working with Waste Trade, seeing your experience and working with all these different schools within the schools program. But just to move over onto another question, you spoke about collections and collecting from different organizations and NPOs. And I know that you guys have a few drop-off points within Port Elizabeth, right? So can you please tell us where those drop-off points are, where people can locate you? If I know you said that you're in Deal Party, that may be too far for some people. How can they get their waste collected from you?
Okay, so what we do is, because we don't do household collections, that is Laura's department. So what we do is we encourage parents that have children that attend schools, such as maybe in the Woma area, we've got Quest School, we've got Victoria Park. But because we used to open doors like to the public, most of the publics tend to be disorganized with the waste they take to the schools, maybe because they lack information. But our website has all the information on what we do and do not recycle. So that's how we partner with schools. We usually give them the guideline to guide on what items we as waste trade are able to recycle locally, so that we don't allow everyone to bring in anything and everything, which then becomes a problem to the school, because the school is first and foremost an institution for education. Then they do the recycling, which is also part of the life orientation and life skills that children learn, and to responsibly of the environment. So most of the schools only allow the parents of the children attending the school, but then Quest School is open to the public now as we speak, to allow people to bring in recyclable materials such as plastic bottles or PET. So PET can be your water bottles, like this little fella here. I like to reuse to show the arts and crafts as well. So the little Mr. Elf here, my little penguin. Then we also take this type of PET, which is clear plastic bottles as well for PET. It can be green, it can be brown, as long as it's a PET with the number 1, a triangle with a number 1, or it will say PET on it. Then we also take your HDPE bottles, which are for milk or sour milk. So this little Hello Piggy here, so it will have the number 2 on the triangle. Will have a number 2. I'm just trying to locate it. Don't know if anyone can see it over there. To be a little triangle with the number 2. So that's HGPE2, number 2. So we also take your polyprop for big yogurt tubs, ice cream tubs. We will take for medicine containers, you know, those medicine containers for tablets as well. We take those. We take your white used office paper. So ladies, at the end of the year, when you're done with your sustainable seas reports, please recycle your white office paper.
We'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Emmy.
Some people will ask me, so you want clean paper? We actually want used paper, but it has to be condition, so that we can de-ink it, bleach it, dye it, and then recycle it into new paper or tissue products, right? Then we take cardboard boxes, whether it's for cereal boxes or packaging cardboard boxes, containers, and rolls for toilet paper, your egg trays. We take your LD soft plastic. For instance, if you go to a spa, because we also work with some of the spas for the Herald Christmas Cheer Fund, then we have soft, clear LD plastic, which is number 4. So some of the shopping bags will have the number 4 on it. We can recycle that and accept it for recycling. You can go to spas. I will have the list. I think Thomas will be able to share the link to show you where the drop-off points are. We have that ready for you. So everyone listening can click on it and they'll see we've got Quest School on there. We have our main depot here in Deal Party, which is warehouse 8, Old Grahamstown Road in Deal Party. Then we have about 7 spas that are actively collecting white used paper. So you can go to Mount Clinton Spa, drop off your white used office paper or old diary paper or materials that you've been scribbling on, or your grocery lists. Okay. So
there's really a lot of places. What you're saying, Emmy, I think you've really listed a lot of different locations around PE.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we'll definitely share that graphic after the at the end of this masterclass.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just watching the time and I'm thinking we should maybe, I'm going to come back to you. And if it's possible for us to chat to Laura for 2 more minutes. Laura, I was just wondering, I think, what has been the funniest thing that you guys have found in your recycling?
Oh, can you imagine?
Well, some aren't useful for family content, but we found all sorts. One Christmas I was actually sorting and I found a pizza box, some underwear, and a wine bottle in one bag. So I'm assuming
good night.
But yeah, I know we do get some weird and wonderful things. We kind of get the funny little clothes, and some of the staff model them, and we put it on the website. But ideally, we actually don't want stuff that you can't recycle. So although it's amusing, we would rather just get stuff that we don't have to throw away for somebody else.
Yeah, definitely.
Laura, would you say you've seen an increase over the last 6 months in terms of more and more people are becoming more sort of conscious about their waste, sort of adapting the zero waste lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a thing about being conscious, but we have certainly seen a huge increase over lockdown. And I really think that at the beginning of lockdown, people had time to do the things that they've been meaning to do, and lots of people have been meaning to recycle. So we got quite a few inquiries then, and obviously people being limited to when they could go out and not being able to go to work, they were wandering around the streets early morning, and then they saw our vehicles out in their suburb, and they saw their neighbours were recycling. They had a clear bag of recycling out. So then they're also touched. But it's fabulous for us. It's obviously been a really challenging time all round for everybody. But it's great to see that the will is there. It's just sometimes people haven't been aware of it, the ability to do it, or haven't had the time to organise it.
For sure. I think I absolutely agree with you. I think a family member of ours also set up their recycling station within the house during lockdown. I think you're absolutely right. People had a little bit more of free. Got those to-do lists done, you know. I think it's really such a great thing to start in every household, and it really isn't that complicated. And maybe you can tell us about how easy it is. Is it a matter of just signing up, and just how simple is that process to the folk that sort of registered for a collection service as yet?
It really is super easy. We've made it super easy because we wanted to encourage people. So as far as separating goes, we ask, if possible, if you can keep your paper separate so that it stays dry, that would be fantastic. If not, you can pop it inside a Kellogg's cornflakes box in with the other stuff. And then it literally is a matter of getting your bag ready on the day that we're in your area and popping it out on the verge, and we'll come and collect it. I really would encourage people.
All right, so we seem to have lost Laura again. We're just quickly going to pop over back to Emmy. Hi, Emmy. We're back on your side. We've just got, I'm going to give Emmy one more question, well, two more, but it's going to be quickly, short and sweet. I know these are questions that we had to get from our education team.
Yes, so very important.
Very important question.
We don't ask these questions.
Yeah, so Emmy, does Waste Trade offer school tours and excursions for the school program kids or the schools that are part of your school program?
Yes, so the excursions are part of the benefits of being part of the school's project. So in order to get an excursion or come tour around our depot, you have to be registered and recycling. Maybe you have had a month of collections, and then you can come through and see what we're doing with the waste.
Okay, that is fantastic. So I think it's such a, an exciting concept for schools to get along with and, get on board, to have the option to go out and and explore and find out new things. So just last question for you, Emmy. This is a little bit of a tricky one, but what do you think is the most misconception that you've seen within the waste management sector?
Well, everything with the recycling logo can be recycled. I mean, we are in South Africa. We are still a developing country. So not everything that has a recycling symbol can be recycled locally. So some of the stuff will say recyclable, but locally we don't have the means. So most of the stuff, it's always wiser to check before you sign up for recycling, do your research, find out what this company accepts for recycling, and then stick to that, because some of the things sadly go to landfill if we can't recycle them.
Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Thanks, Emmy. I think it's been really great chatting to you. I'm going to ask just if you stay on the line.
Yeah.
And encourage those who are viewing, if you have any questions, just to pop it in the comment section.
Definitely. We'll be answering a few questions shortly.
Yes. Okay. And then Laura, I think from your side, you've been in the waste industry for the last
12.
In your opinion, what do you think is the greatest misconception around waste management and recycling?
I think from Green Cycle's point of view, we're a non-profit organisation, so that obviously means that we're not in it sort of to make lots of money, and that's good because there isn't a lot. So as an intermediary with a very, very high manual labour requirement, all the sorting and what have you, it's been extremely difficult to even break even. And because people know that some recycling gets paid for, people assume that either they can start up a little operation and they'll make lots of money, or that everybody will pay for it. And it's just sadly not like that. Most Green Cycle customers do appreciate that we're offering a service and we're sort of taking the jobs for them and providing employment, which is really the icing on the cake.
Yes. Right.
That is fantastic.
Laura, I think there's also a really nice elements that you guys have. I think you have like a stationery section and a warehouse where you have a collection of jars and things like that. Maybe you want to tell the public about.
Yeah, those things just sort of arrived organically. When we started, people would say, "Oh, I would like some jam jars. Have you got any? Have you kept any?" And so then we started keeping them, and that's actually become a huge thing. We are, inundated by home industries people who come to us for all their jars. So we keep any jars that we get in from customers. We sort them into type, make sure they've got a lid, box them up, and put them out ready for people to buy. Another thing that started about 2 years after we started Green Cycle, we started doing confidential document shredding. So again, people were saying, can you shred our stuff before it goes to be pulp? So we started to do that. So that's also become huge. And yes, ultimately, we don't want to throw anything away. So if we find stationery that can be used, we either use it in the office or sell it on, and we've made... I hate the plastic bag. Obviously, we all know what the plastic bag's doing. So we, in conjunction with Mission Vale Care Centre, we've made our offshoot bags. So they're made from offcuts of parachute material, which is already like a waste product. Mission Vale make them, and we sell them, and they will last a lifetime. So that means, once you've got one, you will never need a plastic bag again for that instead of that bag. And I think they're absolutely brilliant and a solution to a problem that's worldwide.
Yes. And I mean, I think that simple act of going into a store with a reusable bag already is making such a big impact in your entire sort of shopping experience,
No, completely.
So I think it's so easy to sort of run in and then you get to the till and you have to take a bag and whatever. And I think if we can all sort of just incorporate that one act, just keeping a reusable bag in our handbags, us ladies.
Everything else in our handbags.
Yeah, it will make a huge.
Just quickly want to cut back to Laura. We lost your connection at the beginning. And I just wondered if you could please just tell audience at home who Green Cycle is, where you're based, and what exactly you do, because we missed that little segment from you in the beginning. And being has technology always seems to let you down at the last minute when you need it the most. But I will move along into our comments that we have on our live stream. For more information about Green Cycle, we'll definitely put in a link on our that you guys can read up and you can see who exactly they are and what exactly they do. But I want to move into the live comments that are coming through right now. So we've got a comment from Majida Hendricks. I hope that I pronounced your name correctly. And what is very cool to see is that Majida has about four of his or her friends bringing recyclables to their home. And it's quite exciting to see, all of the friends bring all of the recyclings too. So that's very exciting. And I think it's such a good idea. If you know someone or if you have recycling in your home, perhaps Green Cycle at our home, how about, get other people involved to drop off the recycling at your home.
Get the neighbors involved.
Get the neighbors involved, get your family involved. It's such a good idea for you to, spread the love, spread the living initiative. Moving over onto Nicole Collier Naidu. She says, we have been recycling as a family for years, but I am keen to try and convince the block I live in to do it. That's a very good idea. Do you have any other examples of residential groups recycling together? Do you have any tips and would they get a reduced rate, for example? So I think this question would go to Laura. Laura, does Green Cycle have any reduced rates for, whole
Like
complex recycling?
So we have a lot of customers that live in complexes. We have a lot of customers that live in complexes and recycle individually, and lots of whole complexes that are with us, apartment blocks, that sort of thing. There are different ideas. There are different options for depending on the conditions. But I think Nicole is talking about like a residential block. So, for instance, between 11th Avenue and 12th Avenue on Water Road. We've never had anything like that. I have looked at things like that, but generally speaking, you need close to 100% participation. And, we've never been able to get that from anywhere like that. But certainly complexes, definitely, and apartment blocks.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's very good to hear that if you're in a complex, perhaps the whole body corporate to get involved into recycling,
Absolutely.
then, are the people to call. And if you're a school or NGO, then trade are your people to call, because they definitely want to get involved with you. And I think for all of us to see like-minded organizations here in the beautiful, it's small city of Port Elizabeth, trying to make a difference, to move forward towards a zero-waste lifestyle, a zero-waste way of living and thinking, definitely is a journey,
yes,
which we have discovered through this masterclass, that we have to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Lauren?
Absolutely. I think just that small.
Yes.
We don't expect anybody to make huge changes. And I think there's a saying that's going around within the zero waste space that we don't need 100 people doing things perfectly. We need 100,000 people at least doing something about the waste and the issue that we have. So I think if we all just try and make small actions within our spaces, it will definitely have an impact on our environment.
No, 100%. So we have gotten to, we just had one comment just slide in. Andrew Stewart says that it's a great concept. He loves the idea of a masterclass. Well done, Lauren. And he hoped that this message spreads far and wide. And we definitely hope that this message spreads far and wide too. Tabo Matabela, he says, hi, I'm Tabo. He's a founder of an NGO company, and they're based in Mpumalanga province, Mokondo municipality, and they're recycling all types of recyclable material. So that's very good to hear and know that if you are perhaps in the Mpumalanga area and within that municipality, definitely give that organization a shout out and link up with them so that, you're based and you're working with the people in it.
That on our SST website, if you scroll, we have a resource there which shows it's sort of a recycling map. It's still in developing stages, but we're also asking people from who's ever located in South Africa, if you know of a point or recycling center within your area, to please go and list it there, because I'm trying to grow that database so anybody living in South Africa, if they're in or if they're in Kirkwood or if you're in Cape Town, we want to start letting people know how accessible, or not how accessible it is, but rather, that there are places close to you. And so we sort of growing this. So just encourage you guys to go onto our website, have a look at it, and if you are from a recycling center, please go and list your system at your place of it. And if you know of a drop-off point within your region, please go and let us know about it. It will be so helpful. It's like helping each other. No,
definitely. It's just the whole concept of you can't do anything on your own.
Absolutely.
You definitely need the support of all the different organizations, the different people getting on board. And just touching on that, I'd love again to let all of our viewers know that we do have a recycling system here working at Sustainable Cities Trust called Munch on the Move. It is specifically to go into schools to help kids, learn and understand about recycling in a more practical and fun way. We have an amazing education team who is well equipped with a lot of resources that they want to get out into Nelson Mandela Bay as a start and to the rest of South Africa. So if you are interested, please be sure to get in contact with us at info@sst.org.za, and we'll be sure to get back in contact with you and let you know how you can link up with our school's program called Munch on the Move.
That's such a cute program.
It is super cute.
Yeah,
it is
fair.
super cute.
And
So,
yeah, I think also just a huge thank you to those of you who have been watching for today. It's been so wonderful. And for those of you who have missed the previous episodes, you're most welcome to go back onto our YouTube channel and to rewatch the previous episodes. We have one more episode coming up in the month of October, and we're going to be talking PET bottles.
Fantastic.
So we have a representative from Petco.
Yeah.
Information around that. And I just want to say thank you to Laura and to Emmy. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for celebrating so.
All right. And Lauren, it has been fantastic to see you in person.
Yes.
And to our viewers at home, just again, thank you very much for tuning into our masterclass series that moves towards a zero waste lifestyle. This is definitely a journey that we have been excited about, that we've been learning more about, and we hope that this has been a valuable contribution to your lives as well. As Lauren mentioned, this is our second last masterclass, and we have one more coming up in October, so be sure to join that one. And this is very exciting. We have a fantastic guest speaker that's up for you guys. But until next time, make sure that you just do one thing in your home that leads to a better future. Thank you, everyone, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.